And here we are on Antigua Shipyard, and it's your introduction. Go ahead.
Oh, you caught on... Kevin, I wanted to make a frown face at you for a while. I stole, if you guys missed it, I stole Kevin's. Was it Monday? Or was it last? It was like last Thursday or last Wednesday. It was very recent. It was in one of our last like 2 or 3 casts. Ladies and gentlemen, bottom left-hand corner of the map from Team Liquid. He is blue. He is here on the line. He needs to secure 4 consecutive victories to take this set. He is Tasia. Kevin, who's he facing off against today?
His opponent here in the upper right-hand corner, 1 game away from all-killing Team Liquid, is our Red Protoss player First.
See, Kevin, you don't make mistakes very often, you know, if ever. So if you were excited enough that you stole my intro, I figured you're so pumped, I got to give one to you anyways, man.
Could be our last game, though. We'll see what Tasia wants to do. This is a very interesting map for PvT. We've seen the way that Jockji plays this in the NSOSA match the other day. He plays this incredibly aggressively. Lots of drops, 2-base bio play, really stretching his opponents, multitasking, things along those lines.
Yeah, Jockji looked insanely good.
Mm-hmm. And we'll see if Tasia can do something similar. You know, Tasia has 2 very separate brands of play. He can play that incredibly aggressive style, but he very much telegraphs that to you. Or he can play the ultra defensive 1 racks into 3 command centers style play, which may not be as effective on this map, especially because First is going for double gas against his Terran opponent before cybernetic score.
All right, so 1 racks expand coming down for Tasia.
Oh no, it's actually command center first.
False, yeah. Man, the perception of like, I think maybe I need to update my printing. You know, my dots are too big. I need to get a higher DPI.
Yeah.
Because that void ray call earlier, and now I'm looking at the supply depot. I'm like, yeah, that's a barracks.
Now, First has 2 on each gas, so this is not necessarily indicative of any sort of quick Dark Templar play. In fact, this could be like a quick 1 base Blink Stalker 4-gate with Observer kind of thing. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of flexibility, though, for heavy aggression from First in this position.
He could go for a fast Dark Archon play.
Dark Archon play.
That's never been useful anywhere. Ever.
Rush Dark Archons.
So Tasia did opt for 2 barracks here, which could work, you know, good for him or bad for him, depending on what we end up seeing here from First. Mm-hmm. We really just need to wait and see. I mean, it's a Stalker at this point, so it's definitely going to be tech. He's chrono boosting the Stalker. How much chrono does he have? So he's got a relatively small amount of it. Not to say that he couldn't still go for Blink Stalker, but if the more chrono boost we see on other things, the less chrono he's going to have if he decides to go for a blink plan. In fact, he's actually going to go for a really quick Nexus here. I mean, he's a 400.
Yeah, one base Nexus, but with the double gas, he could actually just be going for a DT expand. Yep. We'll see if a Twilight Council follows this up very soon, or if he decides to transition directly into Robotech. In any case, we're going to see something a little bit unconventional. Tasia, on the other hand, actually going for 4 barracks for now.
All right, Stalker moving out across the map. Probe is going to be building a pylon down in the corner. He's up to 200 gas at this point. You know, typically if you're going to go for a very surprising time-dependent tech route such as DT, you want to rush it as quickly as possible, you know, still with such concessions as needed, such as, you know, a Nexus or a Stalker to deny the Scout, but 2 Stalkers is a little bit much. So as you see more and more of these, you know, and then a pylon and things like that, so you can kind of tell he wasn't going for the DT anymore because he wasn't storm gunning it for that Twilight Council. So we do see the Robo going down now, and this, I mean, this could be some sort of a bust play, and he's, you know, if you drop those gases exceptionally early, you can start accruing it really, and it's not as much of a tell that you're going for the bust because you can actually go for later 3rd and 4th gases and still be able to rush for those Colossi. But hey, you know, a lot of possibilities are on the field.
Yeah, 3-gate Robo for now with a good bit of gas, and that's going to buffer his early sentry count. Looks like First is really worried about something slipping by him, so his pylons are very spread out. He's got good control of the map, and he is going to see a large amount of Marines headed through the middle. Retreats with his probe, of course, doesn't want to get that killed unnecessarily, and we'll have to prepare some defenses. Of course, Stalkers are very good against unupgraded Marines, but in that large of a number, their DPS is still going to be very high.
Yeah, and he can't really go up there and poke them. You know, they are behind that smoke barrier. Engineering Bay is completing here for Tasia. And he really just doesn't have any information at all at this point. So he's going to move forward with his Marines and get himself at least a little bit. We'll get a peek at the Stalkers. Will he get a peek at the low sentry count? Don't know yet. There's the Robotics Bay we've been waiting for. And First is now going to have to contend with these Marines. Oh.
Yeah, backs away pretty nicely, only taking a little bit of damage, shield damage so far. Of course, he hasn't killed any Marines, but a couple of those are starting to get low. One finally does die, but a Stalker may go down in the process, down to just a couple of hit points. Now attacking with these sentries from the high ground to these Marines. Make it through, they kill one Stalker. Looks like a probe goes down in the process too, but at the cost of about 5 or 6 Marines.
Yep, Tasia now going to be falling back with those, but he got a lot of information from that. He saw 2 sentries, he saw 2 Stalkers, 2 Zealots. He knows that there's a lot of gas available. Oh, and he saw the quick 3rd and 4th gases as well at that expansion. So a lot of information here. He sees not much gas on the field and a lot being mined, so he can definitely anticipate this tech. Wonder what his response is going to be behind this, because...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at this point, he's investing in upgrades, and he could hit a really nice +1 stim timing with 2 medevacs, and I kind of hope he goes down that route because of the way that First is investing into a lot of tech at the moment, into the Colossi. He could actually do some damage without that large of a gateway presence on the map. And so we'll see if he goes down that path. There's the starport. He's putting add-ons onto his barracks for now, so his, of course, his unit count is going to be a little bit lower for a bit.
First going for the Forge and the Twilight Council, while he's still working on that Colossus count, growing it ever so slightly. The scan will manage to catch the Observer, so nice play there for Tasia.
Yeah, and First, he got a decent... Yeah, it looks like he saw all the critical tech. He didn't see the exact number of barracks. Oh, no, he did, actually. He saw the one that was constructing, of course, so he knows pretty much everything that's going on.
All right. So he's moving out across the map right now. He does have stim at this point. Pretty much. Like when he arrives with this attack, it will be on the field. No medevacs, though, going to be joining this, although the starport is completed. And it looks like with the completion of that Twilight Council, we will have Blink and +1 armor, actually, starting up for Tasia. First.
A second starport starting immediately for Tasia, too. Now, did he pick up on the Colossi already, or is this just a good read on his part? He saw the robotics facility, of course. You can pretty well assume that Protoss player is going to move into this when you have the robotics facility available. But the problem you could get into is that a lot of Protoss players are in favor of doing the one Colossus push. And, Tasia has to watch out. He's losing a few forces here. Really nice force fields from First, and he gets away without losing a single unit. There's a lot of Protoss players, though, that have been going after the build one Colossus and immediately switch into Charge Light Archon afterwards, and that's something Tasia would have to watch out for. Finally picks off a Zealot of his opponents, but still, that Colossus has already gotten 6 kills.
Yeah, this is definitely a very sticky situation right now for Tasia, because he lost a few Marines there, and the sentries still have a lot of energy left on them. But it looks like First, for now, is going to fall back. The 3rd base for Tasia has landed, and First has actually yet to start his. So this is really going to be an investment into a very, very large push here from Incredible Miracles Protoss player First in just a moment.
Now, Tasia's not going to have that much on the ground. He has a decent bioforce, but it's not going to get too much larger than that, depending on how much he invests into the air. You can already see he was making cutbacks in the overall number of medevacs available to him, and continuing to increase the Viking count.
First is going to drop down that Nexus, and it's a little bit late here, you know, but it really doesn't set him too incredibly far behind Terran players. It's pretty easy to make your... I mean, honestly, Tasia could have made his 3rd substantially earlier than he did anyways.
All right, this Zealot just keeps getting chased down. I love this. This Marauder is so cute. Just looks like he's poking him with the stick the whole time or something like that. But so the Nexus is about, 40% of the way finished. This command center is almost done, but don't forget it has to turn into an orbital command before it really starts to increase its usefulness. Tasia's going to engage this straight up. The Blink Stalkers actually make their way from the high ground. That was a great bait from First. Now with the Vikings here, that's not actually going to do that much damage. They're picked off immediately, and Tasia actually suffering some huge losses here in a beautiful bait from First.
I mean, First with those Stalkers not on the low ground, Tasia went, this is too few. I can fight this. You obviously have units out of position waiting for drops. And then First blinked all of his Stalkers down, and suddenly an engagement that looked like it was going to go well for Tasia turned into a positively horrid loss for him. He's down in supply, not by the largest of margins right now. The thing is, all the Colossus are still in the field.
Right, but you can't just go into an engagement. You can kill all the gateway forces for a Protoss player, and that's fine. But if you don't kill any of their Colossi, you haven't impacted their army all that much. Now we saw Vikings going down left and right. There's only 2 more left. None are being constructed. There's already 3 Colossi. A 4th is being added on right now, which means that the force that comes back from First is going to be able to very handily deal with the amount of damage output from just a couple of Vikings.
Yeah, this is definitely a scary situation for Tasia in a certain regard, but I want to say, that I think that honestly just kind of like even things up to a certain regard. Can we actually look at the resources lost tab? And all right, so Tasia definitely lost a little more, I guess, than the amount that he was ahead. But first right now with the amount of tech that he's got going on, +2 weapons, +2 armor. He's also got charge being researched. Just so many things going on for him right now. And Tasia is not working towards ghosts or anything like that.
No, he's not. And his opponent's going to be on 10 gates once again. So really, First has a really nice unit composition here. He's investing in his upgrades the right way, too, getting double forged. So many Protoss players have been trying to skimp there in order to put out a couple more units or try and get some effectiveness done in some other aspect of their game. But I really think the upgrades are undervalued by a lot of players right now because any sort of an upgrade advantage you can carry is when this next engagement happens, there's going to be about 2.5 minutes in-game where 2-2 is going to be available for First, and Tasia is not going to have it. That's a really tough moment for Tasia.
It definitely is. And the Colossus count for First right now is massive. He's at 4, almost 5. There are how many Vikings on the field?
4, I believe? 5.
Yeah.
And 3 being
There's
made at a time.
not even a Viking for each Colossus.
Right.
Essentially. There is. There's exactly a Viking for each Colossus.
You usually need double that amount. All right, so Tasia's going to try and strike here with this drop, and he has a good little force of Marauders here, and they can't actually shoot down Stalkers very quickly, and it looks like that's what he's prioritizing. Because if there's any way that you want to make Vikings last longer, it's by killing a bunch of Stalkers.
Actually, like of course Marauders, do the bonus damage to armored, but it's also a priority unit for Tasia because he has such a low Viking count. He really needs to keep them alive.
Yeah, and we can see that any Templar that are being brought in immediately turned into Archons and more Stalkers being dropped down in order to combat the increasing Viking count, which is now actually getting substantially higher. It's up to 9. There's 3 more that are about to pop out.
And this is something that Tasia is just not going to be able to deal with. 2-2 is completed, guys. First is getting ready to move out. Tasia does not have those upgrades. In fact, they are only about halfway done. He's about 60 seconds away on the weapons, 70 or 80 away on his armor. So he's got to hold out until about the 18-minute mark here, if you're looking down on the bottom left. If he can do that, then the timing will wait until 3-3 for First.
Good job by Tasia to pick up on all these pylons that have been positioned across the map, though. First had been trying to do some sneaky warp-ins behind and limit the economy of his opponent, but Tasia's just really shut that down. Now he's got 7 medevacs, now he's got 12 Vikings, soon to be 15. Of course, we have a big Charge-Led Archon switch that's going to pop in here in just a bit. He's content with the 5 Colossi that he has. If he loses those, he'll just go into straight warp gate warp-ins afterwards. Tasia's preparing for that, though. He has his Ghost Academy. It's about halfway done for now, and he hopes that these Vikings, of course, won't be deadweight.
Yeah, and First, he can't really attack right now. The upgrades are even. Tasia is totally geared to attack. He's like, I just finished 2-2. Let's do this. Like, I know you've got 3-3 on the way. It's probably pretty close. I want to fight. And First says, well, I guess I got to defend. Here we go. First wants to get his Zealots in front. He does a very good job of it.
Yes, he does. The Archons are sitting behind, actually dishing out some pretty good splash damage. The Colossi numbers are falling very quickly. Just 2 Colossi remaining, now just 1 Colossus, and it's about to fall here in just a second. But the ground force was not strong enough to stand up to what First had sitting around. So even though there were a few Vikings that were left over, but I think they've all actually been eliminated. Yes, they have by the follow-up forces. First is able to start chasing Tasia down.
Yeah, 20 minutes in and still not a single ghost on the field yet for Tasia. That's definitely a tough situation when your opponent is sitting on force with Colossus and Archons. And guess what? Kevin, 3-3 just finished for First. I don't know how Tasia's going to be able to hold this off.
Yeah, I mean, especially if these Zealots can actually get to the front there. The blink cooldown was actually done for the Stalker, so a little bit of bad positioning there, or suboptimal positioning for First, but I think he realizes that the sheer amount of units he has is going to do the trick. You can see the bio units are falling very quickly. There's GG for Tasia, and First has just all killed Team Liquid.
Liquid came out pretty strong there in that match with Zenio, but overall they just had no answer to First and his very... his playstyle was extremely varied In the first few matchups against Zerg and even a little against Protons, he was going extremely heavy on the gateways. And then there against Tasia, really mixing it up and instead teching very, very hard.
Very cool stuff. And Team Liquid unfortunately falls 0-1 in their group to begin the season. Incredible Miracles still rolling, though, like they do in all IPTLs. They're up 1-0. Congratulations to them, and congratulations to First for his all-kill. Very, very impressive stuff.
It was quite good. Guys, that's going to wrap it up for us here today at the studios for the 2013 Season 1 of IPTL. Hope you enjoyed that match, and it was IM taking down Liquid 5-1.
That's right. So we'll be back tomorrow with more Premier Division action. For now, though, please do follow the IGN Pro League on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. Is at IGN Pro League on any of those services. You can follow us personally. I'm at Kevinaki. He's at Kibbles. Have a wonderful night, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.